Good morning, and today's look inside video is going to be on this American classic. This is a Kraft 61 engine made in the USA. Now this engine dates back to probably 1975, and back then these engines were serialized, and this one is a serial number A03625. And I actually have the matching box that goes with this, which is kind of cool. So I just did a run with this engine a while back, and I thought I'd just do a quick look inside, maybe clean it up, because it looks like it's, it is, when it was given to me, it was a used engine. I had no idea how used it was, but I've never taken this thing apart. So let's do that and see what we've got. Now, because this is a made in the USA engine and an older design, I'm not sure why, they incorporated cross-point screws throughout. And to my recollection, this is the oldest engine I've ever seen that actually incorporated a composite back cover. But I think the first thing I'm going to do here is take this carb off. Now, one of the issues I had when I ran this engine was that I really couldn't peek the high-speed needle out at all. You can see here how this thing rotates all around. There's no throttle stop screw. So the only thing that's allowing you to actually adjust this high-speed needle is the pressure on your controller here. Now the problem that I had with this engine when I ran it was that this high-speed needle, the end of it was bent and crushed in, so it wouldn't really engage the way it was supposed to. Now it does, as you can see, it has two different needles. This is the high speed, this is the low speed, and they are different. I found out looking at a manual that came with my new in box one. They have different part numbers, they have different lengths. This one is longer. Unfortunately, even though MECOA still sells some Kraft and RJL parts, they don't have any of these, so I'm not going to be getting a replacement high-speed needle anytime soon, which kind of sucks. So unless I borrow the one from my new in-box engine, I won't ever be running this one again, I guess. So here's our carb taken off. Now pulling this carb apart is a little bit challenging because there's a nut here, and then the one that pulls, there's one here holding this clip on, and trying to get the right sized wrench, which is like a 1/4 inch wrench on there without totally damaging or flaring out the clips is pretty tough. Because this engine did come with a spare carb, and I did take that other one apart. Now I really need to take this one apart just to make sure that this high-speed needle didn't damage the barrel. I don't think it did, because I think the barrel is actually a harder material. Let's continue on here. And one thing I noticed here, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that or not, it looks like there's a crack in this rear cover right there. I can't tell if my camera's going to actually show that or not. I was going to say it does have an O-ring seal here. Wow, if this engine is a used engine, it certainly isn't used much, because that looks pretty damn pristine in there. Look at that. I mean, the bearings feel smooth as hell. I may not really need to take this thing apart much, but if you look inside here, hopefully you can see that. Let me pull this plug out so it's a little easier to turn over. This looks like a really low time engine, which is really unfortunate now about the high-speed needle being damaged. Because I thought I could see quite a bit of carbon on the side of that piston, which at least initially indicated to me that this was a higher runtime engine. So this also incorporates a total of 8 head screws. I'm going to go grab a different screwdriver real quick. Okay, they were very serious about keeping this head on. So here's the underside of the head. And here's the top. So it does look pretty dirty up here. And this one is, hopefully you can see this too. This is something I read in the review article. Peter Chin has two different review articles on this engine. And it's really tough to see here in the video, I think, but maybe if I get the right angle here. This is a domed piston. And I read early on that some of these actually had a special coating on the piston or certain components to help dissipate heat, and I don't think that worked out very well, but this one does have the domed piston, but it's pretty dirty for as good a condition as the inside of the crankcase looks. I mean, look at this. Compare this and how brand new looking that looks to this, which I think is odd. But anyway, I'm going to see if I can't get my gear puller out here and pull this front housing off so we can continue the disassembly. Okay, so it's Sunday and I'm in the garage, and in the background you'll hear the washer going because it's Sunday and that's the day my wife does laundry, so forgive that. Those of you that are familiar with my channel will have seen this setup before. This is my gear puller that I got from Harbor Freight. I had to modify the tongs on it here to facilitate fitting a variety of different engines. But this is what I use to pull off the prop nuts because they have a really strong mechanical fit, and this is how I facilitate getting that off. So I'm going to put a little bit of oil on there in here, and I'm probably going to end up putting some heat on this. Now what I like to do is I like to just put some tension on it, and if it doesn't just pop off right away, I'll just put some good tension on it and then I'll heat it up, and then that's what generally will pop that off. Now this crankshaft didn't have a hole or a machining tooling area in the front, so I'm having to try and grab right on a flat surface there. Okay, so I got quite a bit of heat on, or quite a bit of tension on that. Now we'll just see if heating it up causes it to pop off. There you go. Oh, yeah, it popped off, and that's all it takes. And there's our drive hub and collet in there. Even this bearing looks really, really good. But I think the bigger task is trying to get, I'm gonna have to pull that sleeve out before I'm gonna be able to pull this connecting rod off, I think. And what I think is interesting here is, first, you can see that connecting rod is bushed, which is always a good thing. And then here, if you look, there's an R, which means rear. That tells you that it faces the rear. So I'm trying to look inside here to see if I can feel the edge of this sleeve, because I'm going to have to heat it up and try and get a popsicle stick on there to push that up. The lighting is horrible. I can feel it, I think, but I really can't see. So that's the process I'm going to have to try and do now, is heat this up a whole lot, get a glove on, and I won't use this. I'll use a popsicle stick or a piece of wood and see if I can slide this sleeve up and out, because that's really the only way I'm going to be able to continue this disassembly. And I don't want to put this in the ultrasonic like this, because it won't clean it adequately, and quite honestly, the bearings look fine, so I really don't even need to go any further than this, but I'm going to give it a shot anyway.